two birds, one stone. Last time in this repetitive series of events, somebody asked me about the simulation theory that the world's greatest and highly educated physicists are talking about, or how everything repeats itself. And my wife asked me if I should take a time management course because somebody suggested to her that I need to better manage my time. So if you were paying attention yesterday, my dog threw up in the same spot as the previous recordings. I had two stains in my carpet from where my dog got sick in the exact same two locations. My pet stain lifter got plugged and I had to take it apart while my wife was in the shower at the exact same time. It's about 9:30 in the morning. I've cleaned the stains, I've took out the trash, I trimmed my two rose bushes, I mowed the front and back of my yard, I've cleaned the kitchen, done the counters, done all the dishes, right? I've repeated my series of events, but the universe, outside of my control, has repeated it as well for you to visualize.
Martin Cabello is interesting to say the very least, and recently the man has been blowing up, and as such, people have been asking me what I think of him. As for the rest of you who have never heard of him before, here's a TLDR. If you Google his name, you'll find content about him just about everywhere. I don't mean commentary and things like that, at least not yet. Right now, if you look him up on YouTube, for example, what you'll mostly find are compilations and out-of-context memes. If you want to find content directly from the source, however, you'll have to make your way over to Instagram, to the page you see here. Martin currently has over 380,000 followers, many of which are quite new given this recent boom in popularity, but what made him so popular? Take a look at these videos to get a rough idea of his content.
Some cryptography from me in Dragon Ball Z. In order to have Dragon Ball Seed, you need to drag on with your balls C and use T as the empty calorie to create the perfect ATP needed to build your biology, using the metamorphosis behind ketosis. Now we gotta tie Ernie to this tree. He won't stop making a body of light that is real light appear in the 7 seals of what a rainbow reveals. He definitely must be a witch or a brujo. In this repetitive sequence, me and my wife went to Ross, Kohl's, and the Old Navy, and everything was set up in the same places for me and my wife to help us get through our shopping day and spending the day together without us having meltdowns, either of us, and freaking out or whatever, which was very good for both of us.
So right now you're probably feeling a weird mixture of amusement and pure confusion, and that's pretty much exactly where everyone else is as well at the moment. On the surface, Martin looks completely normal and unassuming, but in most cases the things that come out of his mouth are pretty incoherent and hard to follow, but still maintain an air of humor, leading many to assume that this page is supposed to be absurdist comedy, or basically a meme. If this is the case, however, then you're probably wondering why people have come to me about it. In case you have no idea who I am though, first of all, hello, second of all, please subscribe. Anyway, I tend to focus on the spookier or mysterious side of things, so why are people asking me about what's essentially a meme account? Well, the guy is kind of straying into that territory at this point. Martin's name is even appearing on subreddits like r/ARG and Conspiracy. Now, before I get into this, I just wanted to clarify that there are a lot of details that I could dive into to theorize on, but for now I want to keep it short and to more of an introduction with the possibility of a deep dive if enough of you think that that's a good idea. Basically, one of the reasons why people find Martin so confusing is because despite the memey nature of his account and content, if you start listening to what he's saying, you'll notice a few common themes.
My wife will never actually admit to the things bad that have happened to me and her, and how the military actively have been recorded saying they were going to get her. No, flower. Somebody just asked me why I hate the military. Quantum field theory's local manifestations of energy into matter. The sun in the sky sacrifices itself for my daily bread and my last supper, turns one seed into 100 bushels. Possibilities in the alternate dimensions or realities they state exist. Right? The 7 seals of a rainbow reveals a body of light that is real light when all 7 seals unite. In the covenant that arcs, the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, think about that. In quantum mechanics, the most advanced science humanity has, anything is possible that a physicist can think up or astrophysicist can think up. Alternate dimensions where there's a million different thems, right? But they exclude religion on purpose.
So these are obviously just a couple examples, but if you look at the other things Martin has posted alongside his videos, be it still images or the captions, we see a lot of talk about the military, usually from an anti-military stance. Quantum physics is another popular talking point for him, as is Cicada 3301, which doesn't take long to come up if you scroll through his page. Another video that sticks out to many is the one in which Martin explains why he refuses interviews, stating that he'd only do so after his neighbors were interviewed first. These people, according to him, are guilty of essentially running an exploitation ring, but not much more is ever said about them to the best of my knowledge. There are also several references to someone named Josh, supposedly an old friend of Martin's who he insists, quote, blew himself and his kids up with a gas can.
Somebody asked me why my friend Josh blew himself up with his 2 children. Here's my gas can. My brother Josh blew himself up and his 2 kids.
Another thing to note is that on occasion Martin mentions being essentially coerced into doing the same thing, although he's reluctant. As I said at the start of all this, most people find Martin both hilarious and entirely confusing. They aren't sure if he's putting on an act and playing a comedic character, or if he's legitimately suffering from some form of mental illness. If not any of those, then could this possibly be some kind of ARG situation? Some people even believe he might be a marketing stunt for some unknown company, although at this point I don't really buy that. While I'm not really getting an ARG vibe from him either, I really can't say for sure what's up with this guy. I am pretty confident that there's at least some intentional memeing or joking going on, but I do believe that there's also a chunk of this that might be unironic to him. Again, I do want to point out that there is a ton of content posted to Martin's account, and based on what people have told me, this isn't even actually his first page. Obviously, given the way Martin talks and goes off into tangents, we could very easily make up a wall of praise of every little thing he's brought up, so there is a ton of stuff I wasn't able to touch on here. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for a deep dive, and if everything is picked through one by one, we might get a better idea of what this is all about. I also want to add that I did try to reach out to Martin, but as of right now I haven't received any response, and I doubt I will given the aforementioned post about not accepting interviews. Still, I'll update you guys if anything comes from it, and with that said, I wanted to give a huge thank you to the following patrons: T. Gorman, Andrew, Raphael, Rain, Esper Nix, Lance, Eric, Guillerme, Zerai, Joel, Julian, Avocadros, Shelby, Q, VHS Squid, Garth, Jay, Shadow, Danielle, and Ursula. And with all that said, if any of you want to throw any suggestions my way, email this address, and again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.